what's up guys, my name is Tom, welcome back to another video, and today we're here for another episode of my F1 2021 career mode with Haas. Today is time for episode 12 for the Italian Grand Prix. If you guys haven't watched the previous episode, I highly recommend to go check it out before you see this one. But before jumping on track, we have a lot of stuff to do. Starting with this, we're going to have a contract renewal with our current team, Haas F1 team. To be honest, I wasn't expecting to have this contract renewal because we are already in the second half of the season. I was expecting to see this, after the Hungarian Grand Prix, and this would happen during the summer break. But anyway, we have a low risk, medium and a high risk contract, and I decided to go with the medium risk. As you guys know, I want to keep up with Haas because this is in a way a road to glory career mode, putting the weakest team on the top, and that is my mission for this year's career mode. So we're going to keep up with Haas without any surprise, but I decided to go with the medium risk contract because I know that we score some points, which is terrific considering the car that we have, but we've been doing some mistakes here or there, so I decided to go with the medium risk. We're doing a fantastic job, but at the same time we're doing some mistakes, and I decided to buy, in terms of perks, one from the engine wear, which is going to really come in handy, minus 10% of general wear in our power unit. Before jumping onto the track, we're going to see what upgrade we can buy. We have 1.2k resource points to spend, and we're going to buy a minor upgrade that should be ready for next episode, the Russian Grand Prix. And I'm going to change the power unit components to a brand new one because this is the Italian Grand Prix, a track where straight line speed means absolutely everything, the temple of speed. So without a surprise, I'm going to the best components available. We are already in the garage, and it seems that I don't know what is this because there is no driver moves. However, we received an email. I checked in the championship standings if there was another driver, or if there was an exchange, but there was nothing, unfortunately. So no mid-season drivers transfers. In terms of the performance chart, Alfa Romeo jumping the field, and we've been unfortunately overtaken by Williams, but things are getting pretty close between us, and I think we are catching the lights of the Alfa Romeos, the Aston Martins, and so on. And here we are on practice. The car has been feeling fine. However, I'm not really that comfortable in the high braking zone, in the heavy braking zone I should say, because I'm feeling a lot of lockups. I tried a lot of different brake bias settings, but I'm still locking up. Probably it's the car that is a bit unstable. Maybe it doesn't like to the driver to slam on the brakes. I don't know. The thing is that I'm very uncomfortable, especially at the first chicane where is the heaviest braking zone. So we'll see. I think it's going to be the biggest limitation during this weekend. Practice 1 is done, and we went 10 fastest because I did every single practice program in the first session, and the practice programs went pretty well. But I know that this is not going to be our true pace. We're not going to go into the top 10 shootouts. The best that we can do is Q2, and maybe I'm going to try to get some slipstream. I don't know. We'll see what we can do in this qualifying session for the Italian Grand Prix. And here we are. We're going to brake very heavily into the first chicane. This time we hit the apex pretty beautifully. So I think this is the best chicane that I've ever done so far in this weekend. So who knows, maybe things can turn around in qualifying and in the race. Our main objective is to beat our teammate Mick Schumacher. We have our rival, which is Yuki Tsunoda. However, it's going to be super hard to beat him thanks to the performance patch. Now the Haas is super weak, and I think the AlphaTauri got an increasement in terms of pace. But we went 9th fastest on that lap, and I decided to do another one. We are 3/10 up on our previous best. So it's been quite a successful lap, considering that this is an old set of soft tires. I always like to do 2 laps on our first set just to get used to track conditions, to the new braking zones, because the car changes massively when it comes to a practice session and a qualifying session. We have more straight line speed, we have more power, we have the car is lighter. But anyway, this is going to be our final lap in Q3. We are gaining some slipstream on Esteban Ocon, and this is because everyone is getting out of the garage, so this can go to an absolute disaster because they can get in our way, traffic, But this is Monza, remember. Slipstream, it can be something really good, and you can see that we have ahead of us one of the Williams cars that is punching a hole in the air, so this can be really beneficial for us. I think it is Nicholas Latifi, yes it is, and he's pulling to the left hand side of the track, and we're gaining and gaining. This is really good for us, gaining some slipstream twice in a lap. However, we're not making that much gains. The entry through Ascari wasn't the best, and we are improving by less than a tenth of a second, so it's going to be a marginal improvement. However, we're going to have another attempt. But what is going to be about this one? Going a bit wide through the parabolic through Michele Alboreto across the line. It's not a big improvement. However, it it's enough to put us ahead of Lance Stroll in P17. So the Aston Martins have been struggling a lot so far in this weekend. You can see Sebastian Vettel in the danger zone, Lance Stroll in the danger zone, we are in the danger zone. I think Schumacher is through for the time being, but there's some guys that still need to improve, and we are punching in a hole in the F for Nicholas Latifi, so this is really good. Maybe we can see the Williams going into Q2, you can see Schumacher in P15. What is going to be about us? Better run through Michele Alboreto, improving 1/10 of a second comparing to our previous best across the line. And what this is going to mean, I think it's not enough to put us into Q2 because we didn't gain that much time. Sergio Perez goes fastest in Q1, and there he is. We are P18, just ahead of the two Williams cars. The two Aston Martins get through, but unfortunately got out-qualified by our teammate by less than a 10th of a second. So that is, and this can show that maybe we're going to have a good race. I don't know, we'll see what we can do. Slipstream means absolutely everything to keep up with the cars ahead of you in a track like this, so we have to play smart here. So without further ado, let's go down to the track for Sunday for the Italian Grand Prix.
It's time for the Italian Grand Prix once again, here at the beloved and iconic Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. With the lowest downforce and drag of any circuit in the season, expect to see drivers making the most of the slipstream effect here today. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Lando Norris. They've had to change their gearbox. It's never a good start to a Grand Prix when, right off the bat, you have to contend with a grid penalty.
Fingers crossed that's one failure they won't have to worry about today at least. There's not much of a silver lining to starting down the field with a penalty, but I think they'll be able to make some of that back up over the course of the race.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and P2 goes to Daniel Ricardo, a strong showing from the Australian. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Vettel, Stroll, Verstappen and Antonio Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Norris, Mick Schumacher and Gasly. They've taken a grid penalty. Thomas, Russell, Nicholas Latifi and Yuki Tsunoda. Fernando Alonso, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Esteban Ocon rounds off the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
Thanks Jeffrey, and welcome guys to the Italian Grand Prix. Starting in P15, thanks to some penalties, we're going to have the 2 Alpines starting in the last row of the grid, if I'm not wrong. Strategy wise, it's going to be a simple one stop as always at Monza, starting on the softs and switch to the mediums, and everyone is in the same boat. Maybe I could try to fit the mediums, but we are not in a Mercedes, so we will have a lot of pace deficit. So this is going to be our strategy for today. Nothing special. Maybe we can take an advantage of a safety car during our pit window, I don't know, but we're getting ready for the Italian Grand Prix. 5 red lights for the Temple of Speed, and it's lights out and away we go. Great start, but then we have a little bit of wheel spin in the second phase, and this will allow George Russell to maybe make a move on us. Lando Norris way down the road, and Ricardo will start another front row. Down inside goes George Russell. He goes for a big old dive, and we're going to try to go running outside. Now switching to the inside of Pierre Gasly, but unfortunately we hit those curbs and we got overtaken by Yuki Tsunoda, and we're down into P17. So it's not been a good start. I tried to make a lot of moves, but you know, everyone side by side can end in an absolute disaster. Tsunoda going defensive. Down inside we go through the Roger chicane, and we're going to squeeze him a little bit aggressively, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, needs must. We need to make these moves. We are outside of the points, we have nothing to lose, we gotta be aggressive. So, and this is going to be our race. I'm not going to be aggressive for the entire race because you know, I can risk a crash, but sometimes you have to make this move because track position is really important, but most important than track position in a track like Monza is being in the slipstream, have that precious DRS, otherwise you're going to fall down behind the train ahead of you, you're going to be the threat from the cars behind, and that is your race pretty much over unless there is a safety car. Let's go back to our race. We are in P16, so it's been an okay start. We just lost one position, could have been much better. We've done better start so far in this season in my entire F1 career, but Ricardo sets the fastest lap, so this means that Daniel Ricardo leads the Italian Grand Prix. We're going to watch that in a minute, and we are gaining and gaining on Pierre Gasly, and Giovinazzi is trying to overtake Mick, and Gasly gets really good on the brakes, but now we switch very aggressive to the right hand side of the track. Down inside we go of the AlphaTauri. Brilliant stuff between myself and Gasly, and we are up into P15, so at the moment it seems that we have the upper hand on the AlphaTauris, which is pretty impressive to see, to say the least. And now we're gaining slipstream of Antonio Giovinazzi. We're going to try to go running inside through the Roger chicane. Now he tries to make a move on Schumacher, and now this is really close margins, almost making contact, almost very close to run out of track, but thankfully there is no contact whatsoever, and we're up into P14. Schumacher is up into P13, but this is the man that leads the race so far. Daniel Ricardo leads the Italian Grand Prix, and this is how he took the lead of the race. He got a better start than Valtteri Bottas, starting in pole position as they go into the first corner. Now watching Sergio Perez's POV. Perez is going to get a bit wrong into the chicane, and I think he's going to get overtaken by Lewis Hamilton. But now Ricardo gets a brilliant exit out of the first chicane, and they are still going at it. But at the end of the day, Ricardo will take the lead, because it seems that the McLaren has the upper hand in the straights, and there you have it. We have a McLaren leading the race, and I know that it's not the first time that we see McLaren leading the race. They have 2 wins so far in this season. This is lap 2. This is what happened. Bottas, round the outside he goes, switching to the inside. This can be a great battle between these two, and Ricardo can take the first win of the season and the first win with McLaren, and Ricardo maintains the lead of the race. This is absolutely unbelievable. This is lap 2. This is turning out to be an absolute classic, I want to say. And now Bottas, round the outside he goes, through the Russian chicane. He steps massively on that sausage curb, and he loses the whole momentum, and he has to settle down behind Ricardo in P2. Meanwhile, this is for the last place. This is Nicolas Latifi, was trying to overtake the Alpine of Fernando Alonso, if I'm not wrong. I think it was Esteban Ocon. And now lap 4, it's time for round 3, because Bottas will take the lead thanks to the up of the DRS pretty easily. No, actually Ricardo resists. As you can see, we're gaining on Schumacher, so everything is happening at the same time. Running outside we go off Schumacher. We're going to come back to that battle in a few moments time if we can make the move on Schumacher, which we do so great move on our teammate, as these two are still going at it, and Perez with a brilliant view, so Perez can take the pieces of this battle if something goes wrong. But now Bottas takes the lead, retakes the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, and Perez still in P7. I'm going to take a look at our POV to see the overtake on Schumacher more clearly. So we went around the outside. I decided maybe to wait a bit and give an opportunity to Schumacher to overtake George Russell, but you know, he wasn't doing anything, so I decided, okay, let's overtake him, let's try to do it myself on George Russell. There you have it, brilliant overtake. Actually, Schumacher was pretty shaky in the braking zone, I don't know why, so maybe he's struggling with the brakes as well, like me. I've been doing some lockup so far in this race, I cannot lie, I'm telling you already, but they have it, slipstream on Russell, and we are up into P12, so it's been a brilliant race so far from us. Probably we're going to find ourselves battling with the AlphaTauris, and with us we're getting really wrong through the chicane. We lost massively the back end, and this will allow Russell to come back. Side by side we go through Curva Grande, and Schumacher made a move on Giovinazzi. No, actually he was defending from the Giovinazzi, so apologies for that. So it seems that Schumacher is starting to struggle for pace, but lap 5, Ricardo takes the lead once again. This guy is not giving up. This is the beauty of the slipstream. This is the beauty of Monza. Slipstream allows great battles, and this is Kimi Räikkönen overtaking Lance Stroll, and he takes P10, the final points paying position. At the moment Räikkönen is on the points, which is quite unbelievable to say, but Ricardo, oh, that is really close. He threads the needle, and he takes the lead of the race. Outstanding move from Daniel Ricardo. What a move from the Australian. He takes the lead, retakes the lead of the Italian Grand Prix in great fashion. 3 wide between Russell, Schumacher and Giovinazzi, and I think Gasly is on the right hand side of the track. Down inside goes Pierre Gasly, as it is a 3 wide into the first chicane. This can end pretty badly, which it doesn't, so I think no one has front wing damage, so kudos to all these guys for keeping out of crashes and contact. This is absolute fantastic stuff. Triple overtake from Pierre Gasly. Let's just take a look in his POV. Gaining and gaining. Gasly is a man on a mission after having some great penalties. Just look at this. I think there was maybe some contact, yes there is, between Schumacher and Giovinazzi, but Gasly, what a move. I think he has the move of the season maybe so far, and now look at this. Bottas retaking the lead once again. When is this going to stop? I don't care. They can keep up with this for the entire race because I'm loving it. And now Lance Stroll does a similar move like Ricardo did on Bottas, but this time on Raikkonen in the final point-paying position battle. This is absolute fantastic stuff. Raikkonen doing everything on his power to score points in Alfa Romeo's home Grand Prix. This man still got it, ladies and gentlemen. He has 40 and so years old, but look at him going. This is fantastic, outstanding stuff. This race is turning out to be an absolute classic, and a few moments later Raikkonen will retake P10 of this, will at least try, because they're still going at it, and you can see that we're still under threat from Pierre Gasly, so this is not really good news for us, but we'll see what I can do. It's not going to be an easy task at all, and to keep that AlphaTauri behind, because Gasly has buckets of pace, as these two are still going side by side. This battle never ends. Who's going to be the biggest winner? For the time being, it is Lance Stroll, but Raikkonen is really close as we're starting lap 10 of this Grand Prix, and Raikkonen with some slipstream on Lance Stroll, but here comes Pierre Gasly as we go through the start-finish straight. Two side-by-side actions going into the first chicane. We're going to try to defend from Gasly. We went a bit deep into the first apex, but thankfully we're back on the second one, and for the time being we are ahead of the AlphaTauri. But to be honest, this is a Haas. I don't know for how much longer I'm going to keep this man behind, and sooner rather than later maybe Gasly is going to make a move on as he tried to take a look around the outside through the Roger chicane, but I managed to cover that, so this is getting a bit dangerous for us, because this can end in a pretty heavy crash, let's say like that. But now Ricardo does the same on lap 10. This is a replay, and Ricardo down inside, he goes, he threads the needle once again. Who's going to have the better traction? Look at the train that is behind these guys, formed by Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton. One of the Ferraris already losing some time, but Ricardo takes the lead once again, but Bottas is gaining, and there he is, side by side. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit, and Ricardo tried to hold around the outside. Bottas brake checks a little bit Sergio Perez, but Ricardo retaking the lead of the race. This is fantastic stuff. He can take McLaren's first win, he can take his first win for McLaren, I should say, which it will be quite curious, quite funny to see, because McLaren in the real life thing took their first win. However, it was a 1-2, and Lando Norris at the moment finds himself in P5, and it seems that he's not in the pace of these guys. And let's be honest, Ricardo doesn't have the pace to win this race. The saving grace for the Aussie at the moment is a slipstream. If there was no slipstream, no DRS, he wouldn't be in the lead, let's be honest. But he's doing the job, he's doing a fantastic job, and if he wins this race, he's going to be totally deserved. But you can see we pulled into the pits and we dressed a brand new set of medium tires, because I'm trying to maybe get an undercut, because I'm losing too much time defending Gasly, so I think this is a good decision. And now they're going side by side for the first time through Michele Alboreto. Bottas on the inside, Ricardo on the outside. Ricardo slowed down, and they went into the pits. What has happened to Daniel Ricciardo? He slowed down to not go side by side with Bottas. No, Ricardo, no. Now we need to see how these stops are going to be, because Ricardo can still take the lead on the pit stops, but it's going to be really hard. So green light, and yes, it is behind Bottas. So Ricardo, what has happened to this man? What was Ricardo thinking? They could go easily side by side through the pit lane. It would be maybe a bit messy, but it's possible, as now they're getting out of the pits, and I think there is a Mercedes up the road. There he is! Here comes Lewis Hamilton! He overtakes the McLaren, and now he's trying to overtake Bottas, but oh no! Hamilton hits the back of Bottas! Hamilton loses the front wing! What has happened? The two Mercedes collide! It's been a while, but it has happened. Maybe the first time between Hamilton and Bottas, if it really happened in real life. But what has happened to Lewis Hamilton. I think Bottas moved a little bit on the braking, but why Hamilton was that aggressive on the brakes? I don't know, but he lost completely the front wing. He lost 100% of the front wing, is what I wanted to say. And look at the train that the Prix is forming. And now Ricardo will try to overtake Hamilton as they go into Ascari. Bottas has the win in the hand, let's be honest. And now Ricardo overtakes Hamilton. Leclerc out of nowhere overtakes Ricardo as well. What a move from the Monegasque. And you can see Verstappen losing so much time. Look how much ground he lost to these two, just being behind Hamilton through Ascari. And now who's going to be the biggest winner? Ricardo has more pace than Leclerc, let's be honest, but Leclerc can hold this position maybe for the entire race. Considering what we watched between Ricardo and Bottas, this can really happen between Leclerc and Ricardo, with Leclerc being the biggest winner as they go side by side through the start-finish straight. And you can see they overtake, I think that is Sebastian Vettel, and I couldn't see the rest, so apologies for that. So we need to wait to see what has really happened between these two guys, as now this is in the same lap, and we overtook Pierre Gasly, and we might overtake Lance Stroll as we go into the first chicane. Run inside we go of the Aston Martin. There is some debris on the track, that is because probably of Lewis Hamilton, so that is can be really dangerous when it comes to getting a puncture. And Gasly overtakes Lance Stroll as well, and now he's getting a brilliant slipstream on us, and he might make a move on us. Look at the train that we're forming, and you can see down the inside goes Gasly, and we're going to squeeze him aggressively just to make sure that he doesn't come back. And we're still in P14. I think there are still some guys that need to stop. You can see in the minimap Schumacher needs to stop, and I think there's someone else that needs to stop I'm not entirely sure. But now Gasly overtakes us, and there's nothing that I can do. And let's be honest, in P15, let's assume that Schumacher is going to stop. He's going to be P14, and maybe someone is going to stop as well. Let's assume that is P13. We're doing a brilliant job in these Haas nonetheless. So I think this second stint is going to be maybe a bit of a survival. There is Lance Stroll. We missed the apex through Michele Alboreto, and this allows Lance Stroll to go on the inside. And here we go, side by side with the Aston Martin, with the Canadian. And who's going to be the biggest winner? Raikkonen is not that far from up the road as we overtake. I think that was Schumacher, and I think Raikkonen is gaining as well. Someone is in the pit exit, is Antonio Giovinazzi. Running outside we go of the Italian Jesus, and this can be really close. We went super deep. I'm still struggling a lot with the brakes. I'm trying so many different brake bias settings so far in this race, but none of them is working, so it's going to be a bit of a survival, like I said. And now the two Alphas are going side by side. Raikkonen makes the move on Giovinazzi, and he's trying to go run inside. We missed the first apex through the Roche chicane. I'm struggling so much. You don't have the idea how much pace deficit there is between the Haas and the Alfa Romeo. I don't know, maybe even Schumacher is faster than us, but you can see the train that we are forming, which is quite unbelievable, as we have some yellow flags. So it seems that someone is going slow, and maybe he's out of the race. And oh no, Charles Leclerc, no! That is so unfortunate. Leclerc was aiming for a podium in Ferrari's home Grand Prix. What has happened to this man? His Ferrari power unit gives up, and oh, there he is. So unfortunate for Leclerc. He did nothing wrong, and his Italian Grand Prix comes to an early, and that is so unfortunate from the Monegasque. Good news, it's a free position for us, but yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. He was going to score maybe a podium in this race. He was battling Ricardo. We missed the apex through Lesmo too, and this allowed Raikkonen to fly past us. And we are down into P9, and now here comes Giovinazzi. We might be overtaken by two Alfa Romeos in the space of a sector, and there he is. We got overtaken by the Italian, but we're going to have a precious DRS through the start-finish straight. Maybe we'll see what he can do, as Valtteri Bottas is in a league of his own. You can see the mini-map. One of the Red Bulls is in second place. I'm assuming that is Sergio Perez, as Sainz now sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so it wouldn't be a kind of challenge to get a podium, so it wouldn't be that easy for the Monegasque to get a podium in Ferrari's own Grand Prix. But anyway, we're struggling a lot. We are in P10, and we are under threat from being outside of the point, because now this is the man that is out of us. Our rival in the championship in our career mode, Yuki Tsunoda, aiming for a move, and there is an Alpine making a dive bomb. I think that is Fernando Alonso, if I am not wrong. Now he goes right inside of Yuki Tsunoda. What a move from the Spaniard, showing that he's not all to leave Formula 1. But remember that at the end of the season, he will retire from the sport, which is very unfortunate. Just 1 year with Alpine, and that's it. But anyway, the two Alphas are still going at it, and I think that's beautiful to see, as Giovinazzi gets a bit wrong, gets a bit slow through the Roche chicane. chicane, and we made the move on the Italian Jesus. Who knows, maybe our quest for points is still not over. This is Daniel Ricardo, who is down in P3. This is on lap 13, starting lap 14, and Ricardo, what has happened to this man once again? Ricardo led the race, lost the lead of the race in the pit stops, and now he's pulling into the pits, and he's changing his front wing. What has happened to Ricardo? I want to assume he made contact with maybe one of the Ferraris, with Lewis Hamilton. I don't know, but Ricardo quest to score maybe a podium. Race win will be really hard because Bottas in the league of his own is over, as now we go running outside of Raikkonen. Ricardo is still in this race, but what a race it will be to forget, let's be honest. He was leading the race, and I think Ricardo completely deserved the race win. To be honest, I don't know why he slowed down through Michele Alboreto. Maybe it was to avoid side-by-side action into the pit entry, I don't know, but it's very unfortunate to see, as now we're still battling with Raikkonen. Raikkonen sends one down inside through the Roger chicane, but he can't do anything about it. We're being super aggressive, that's why we're still on the points, but you know, some say that I'm being dirty, I'm being over aggressive, I'm being like Nikita Mazepin, who carrying his legacy into the game, I don't know, but needs must, we are on the points, we have nothing to lose. And we have the two Alfa Romeos on the points, and they are our rivals in the championship. As now, beautiful early cam shot. Let's appreciate this, because the two Alfa Romeos are gaining, Tsunoda is gaining, and we are on the threat from these guys. 3 wide between these three. Maybe it is a 4 wide. No, actually, it's just a 3 wide, thankfully. As now we're in the sandwich where Tsunoda and Raikkonen are the bread, and thankfully, I don't know, the cheese defends the position. That was really weird, so weird commentary for me, I truly apologize for that, but thankfully we defend this position, no contact whatsoever, which is quite impressive to see, and we are still in P8. We're scoring big points in this race, which is so good to see. Let's see Yuki Tsunoda's POV, because you can see, oh, maybe, yeah, it was a bit dirty, forcing him to mount the Socha's curbs, yeah, maybe, I don't know, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm being too aggressive in this race, but like I said, we are on the points, we have nothing to lose. We have the two Alfa Romeos super close to the points as well, and they are our rivals in the championship. Schumacher is outside of the points, so it's me carrying the flag for the team. And this is Lance Stroll now, gaining and gaining on Kimi Raikkonen, if I am not wrong. Round the outside he goes, yes it is Raikkonen, then it's me ahead of the Aston Martin. There he is. Stroll makes the move, and now we might be in more trouble, as we have some yellow flags. I can tell already that is Mick Schumacher that is out of the race, so that is really unfortunate. He was outside of the points, and it would be really hard to score points in this race. So it's been a tough Sunday's race for Schumacher, but anyway, it is what it is. Now it's definitely me carrying the flag for Haas, as Stroll makes the move. We missed the apex from Michele Alboreto. You don't have the amounts of understeer that I have in the fast corners, as now we're gaining. I'm taking advantage of this to save some fuel, as the two Alfa Romeos are pulling into the pits, as now down inside we go of Lance Stroll, very aggressive in the squeeze, let's be honest. So yeah, sorry, I want to say, but what is this? The two Alfa Romeos are changing the front wing, I believe, so I don't know what has happened between those two guys. Maybe they made contact, maybe it was contact between myself, Tsunoda, and then the Giovinazzi when we were going, Raikkonen I should say, when we were going side by side into the first chicane. Speaking of the first chicane, this is Tsunoda, and he locks up. This will allow Lance Stroll to go on the inside, and now Stroll gets a brilliant traction, so good that now it makes the move on us as well. Will this be the final move on Stroll? But to be honest, we have a good straight line speed, carrying low wings in this weekend's Italian Grand Prix, as we are still going at it. Who's going to be the bravest, and the brakes going to be us, because we're going to take the outside line. We have more track available to us, and there you have it. We are still in P8. I need to breathe a little bit, please, because these battles, I don't know how I'm defending this, but you know, we're doing it. And Hamilton and Ricardo are outside of the points, so that's why we're in P8. It's on merit, but yeah, a bit of luck in the mix, I must admit. But this is not far from over, so I need to keep my voice, you know, good for the rest of this race, as now Stroll makes the move, and there is Tsunoda trying to make the move as well. We still have 9 laps to go in this race, as I get really shaky through the exit of Ascari. That was really close to put my Grand Prix 2 until the end, and that would be an absolute disaster, because we are on the points. But to be honest, I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep myself in P9, because look at the understeer that we have for Michele Alboreto, and there you have it. Tsunoda gets up into P9, but look, this is Monza. just get the slipstream and overtake this man. As Hamilton sets the first lap of the Grand Prix, we might find ourselves to battling Hamilton as he's going side by side with George Russell. That is quite funny to see. And now we're going round the outside of Tsunoda, switching to the inside through the first chicane. Tsunoda now I think is under threat from one of the Alpine cars, but I think Alonso didn't do anything on the AlphaTauri, because now here comes Tsunoda once again. Side by side we go through the Ascari chicane, but we managed to keep that position, forcing maybe a little bit Tsunoda into those sort of curbs, I don't know. And Tsunoda is gaining and gaining once again. When this will end, as now we have some yellow flags. Oh, there is a massive crash! It's Tsunoda! Tsunoda is out of the race! I think we made contact, and I think, yes there is! Safety car has been deployed, but Tsunoda, it's out of the race! That was a horrendous crash! That is a big crash from Yuki Tsunoda, and I'm not sure how he is the only one that is out of this race. I don't know, that was super close, but you can see there was no contact. He's just lost on his own. What has happened to this man? He's just lost the car out of nowhere, starting to shake the wheel. And to be honest, I don't know how Lewis Hamilton is still in this race. Just look at that. Unbelievable. When I say Hamilton, he goes for everyone that had to go through Tsunoda. This is the man that leads the race. Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez, and then Lando Norris on the podium after being, you know, not in this league, let's be honest. He's on the podium. We are in P9, Alonso in P10, and we're getting ready for the restart of this race with 3 laps to go. It will be 3 laps to go once we start lap 25. And this can go pretty well, or this can go pretty badly. Remember what happened in the previous race at the Dutch Grand Prix? It went pretty badly. When we had a chance to score points, so we'll see. We're going to maybe to take this careful as I try to have a good run on Lance Stroll, but he kind of brake checks a little bit, which is definitely not ideal. And we are under threat from Fernando Alonso at this Grand Prix. Gets underway once again. Stroll going defensive, but we don't have enough brakes to go around that side. He's going on the side of Sebastian Vettel. You can see Giovinazzi in P17. However, he's getting blue flag, so this can get really messy because everyone is bunched up together. Thankfully, Giovinazzi doesn't get in our way, and we are in P9 as we are at the end of lap 25, and you can see we're starting to form a train, and the 2 Alpines are smelling my gearbox, and here comes Fernando Alonso. We're dropping a lot to the Aston Martin, so we are struggling a lot in these last stages of the Grand Prix. Here comes Fernando Alonso. He tries to go around that side. He is the bravest on the brakes. I don't have any brakes, any tires, any downforce. I don't have maybe a bit of engine because I'm going with low wings, let's be honest, and I have a fresh power unit, but that's the only saving grace in this Grand Prix, and this is really good for us. The 2 Alpines are battling with each other. This is golden for us. The 2 Aston Martins are battling as well, but this is most importantly because they're going to lose time with each other, and the Alpine crew must be sweating buckets at the moment, but at the end of the day, it's Esteban Ocon that wins the battle, and it most likely will take the final points paying position of this race. But for what is going to be about us, will it be P9, will it be P10? I think P11 is not going to be an option because Alonso is a bit far from us. But here comes Esteban Ocon. This is the last lap of the Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas wins the Italian Grand Prix. But what is going to be about us? We're going to take this gingerly. We're going to take this carefully for Michele Alboreto. Verstappen takes the fast lap of the Grand Prix. But for us, in the crazy Italian Grand Prix, for the first time in 5 races, we score points.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
There it is then, victory in the Italian Grand Prix. An historic race, and an achievement they can be immensely proud of. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
This race was an absolute classic. What has happened? I know it was a Mercedes winning once again, but that doesn't invalidate the fact that it was a crazy race. Ricardo could have won that race. He completely bottled it, which is gutting. But for us, points after starting in P15. Maybe I was too aggressive, I'm not gonna lie, but needs must. It is what it is. And you can see that actually Hamilton got a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Yuki Tsunoda, and that was in the lap that he retired. So it seems apparently Hamilton made contact with Tsunoda. Doesn't matter anyway because he finished outside of the points, and this is really good for Valtteri Bottas, extended lead in the championship, 38 points ahead of his teammate. It's been a brilliant season for Lando Norris with 2 wins, and unfortunately Ricardo couldn't do the same as his teammate. For us, 14 points in the back, and I tried maybe to close up to Lance Stroll. That's why I really wanted to overtake him, but today it wasn't the day. 15 points, and for Alfa Romeo still 2, and Red Bull gets ahead of McLaren in a weekend that you know everything was lining up to be an excellent weekend for the walking team, but you know it wasn't meant to be. Next episode, episode 13, is going to be Sochi. The Russian Grand Prix is going to be one of those tracks that you really want to avoid and not choose for the next season. But we have to deal with this track for the next episode, so make sure to stay tuned for that. If you're reaching here, thanks so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave the like button. It really motivates me to make more. But that has been me for today. My name's Tom, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video next time. But for now, take care.